Jordan's subjective.
Jordan's subjective.
Jordan's subjective.
Jordan's subjective perspective.
Yeah, we are live with Mason Gillihan. I pronounced that correctly, right?
Yeah, Gillihan.
Okay, I figured, but it's currently 12:43 at night. It's my birthday too, so.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, it's actually cool because so I started this podcast a little bit before, but I started hitting it harder on my birthday last year. So this is
nice.
In a way, this is the year anniversary today. So.
Oh, great. Glad to be a part of it, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what topics do you want to start with? We've been talking for an hour already.
Out of those questions that you asked me, those topics or just topics in general?
Topics in general. We could go martial arts. We could go. Honestly, there are a lot of topics we can just go in on right now. So.
Yeah. I'm okay with when we talk about legalization of marijuana. From a political, psychological, and scientific perspective.
An objective.
An objective kind of conversation, and then if your audience likes and wants to hear more, we can get more guest speakers. They gotta help out. That's a good topic. One that you brought up, what was it? The productivity of society and limits of technology.
I'll just hop in with that question right now.
Okay.
How should we measure the success of a society? So deep. I guess a lot of this goes to
Are we talking about financially? Per capita, getting into analytics of things and numbers?
If that's what you want to judge
economy?
About. A lot of this happens to be correlated with whatever economic system you prefer, I guess, as well. Because if you want to value money, then capitalism is probably your approach. Or if you want
to... pragmatists are people that are black and white. They look at success in the numbers kind of concept, they have a lot of money, per capita hard, is a GDP hard. But thing is, you can't have those numbers, success, without really knowing what it takes to be successful, which I think is all about people. I think when...
Wait, are you talking about personal success? Or...
This was success as a society, right? The productivity? Yeah. How people are working together.
Okay.
And people understanding people, in a sense. And in the sense that you have good leadership skills, that you're good at team building, that you have a genuine character that is able to instill trust and, likability in it. So, let's say you're in sales or you're in marketing. And that's my profession, and you're not going to buy my product, or if I'm a recruiter, you're not going to join my team if you don't like me, if you don't trust me, right? So I think, just a genuine sense of how you treat others can determine your success. It's a long way, because people do have a lot of weight on your success. So I would say you can measure success by how well you work with people. And how well leadership skills are, whether you are at team building, and if you're, how can I say it, selfless, have more of a servant's heart.
So from a societal standpoint, maybe in empowering,
unity,
encouraging
unity, collaboration,
encouraging the interdependent mindset, so more of the Oriental approach to society.
Exactly.
Okay.
But not in the sense of a collectivity within government, like socialism, communism, and stuff like China. But I feel like a lot of those Asian societies, Oriental societies that you're saying, are becoming a lot more successful because they are less individualistic. And I'm not saying take away America's individualism, but be able to harness each and everyone's individualistic strengths and combine them, work together as one big army.
Okay,
so
make
like
it
a body
more
of armor.
Cohesive
Exactly.
way to optimize the strength of everybody coming together.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. So what do you think?
You learned that from the military.
So like obviously the U.S. is doing a lot of good shit.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of cool. I like this country. I like this country a lot.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So like what do you think some of the cons of empowering the individual kind of derive from?
Well, I was about to get into, we're talking about productivity of society. I feel like right now, it's two different fields. Two different areas you could classify, like our generation, millennials, for example.
Okay.
There's the super high-speed, ambitious types that are starting IT companies at 19 years old, getting into real estate at 20, starting their own businesses right out of college, or, going to work for companies as an executive, like straight out of college. Because there's not only like a sense of high level of IQ or intellectual ability and prestige within their academics,
but general ambition as well.
It's just working hard, work ethic. So that, going back to measuring success, is how hard you work.
Okay.
Like, honestly, whatever you want, whoever you look at, professional athletes to corporate executives to the world's best salesman, like Grant Cardone, for example. The one thing that allowed them to be where they are is they worked harder than everyone around them. So,
or did they work smarter?
Yeah, or work smarter. And so, what are you going to do when thousands and thousands of people want exactly what you want? What are you going to do when thousands of people around you want to be an executive? What do you want to do when thousands around you want to be a professional athlete? You work harder. So there's two different categories. There's the people that understand that concept of work ethic, and they just know it because they've been thrown to the wolves and they've been eating shit, but doing it with a smile on their face and be able to stay optimistic and not give up. Or they were raised that way, came from an authoritarian kind of household that was, made them work hard all the time, do chores and stuff, and didn't just let them play video games all day. Because then you have this other group that's super complacent and lazy.
But don't you think like both groups kind of understand that hard work's necessary to get there?
This is where I'm getting about America and the individualism.
Okay.
So these like the people that work the hardest, they're the ones that end up being the leaders and being in charge of the lazy and complacent people that just want a 9-to-5 job and just sit and have an easy lifestyle.
Yeah.
But they complement each other, because then this person that has all these goals that they want to accomplish, like running their own company, running their own business, being in some sort of leadership position, they're not going to be able to do that successfully without having a lot of people that are wanting to be complacent.
Yeah, both are necessary.
Imagine if both groups were equal in the sense of ambition and work ethic. And that's how I feel Asia is.
More equal? Okay.
More equal in the sense of work ethic and just ambition, in a way. I mean, I had a friend that was a rapper. He would do some rapping gigs in L.A., in Kansas City. He was in Kansas City. He's a little drunk one night, but, he's getting turned down by some girls at the club. And he's like, man, with all them Asian bitches. I love Asian girls because they come here to make money, not take your money. I was like, this is kind of funny, but then I was thinking about it. He's like, you are so right.
That's why I like independent girls.
Exactly.
But actually, no, on that exact topic, this a relevant example of kind of what you're talking about today is that I was at Garth's, which is a dining hall on campus in Missouri State.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
And so I went there to go eat, and when I'm going to get some coffee, this guy walks up, and he's just a worker there, and he's like, hey, I'll get the coffee out for you, and he's like, how's your day been, man? And I was like, okay, this guy wants to talk. I'm like, I'll talk to him for a few minutes. And I'm like, oh, my day's been pretty good. How about yourself? And we just go back and forth, and just talking to this guy, you could tell he derives a lot of like sense of purpose and a sense of meaning from his job. Like
exactly.
He's like, hey, I'll fill up my coffee machines.
Pride in his work.
He takes a lot of pride in this. What I like, if I was working, I'd find it to be like a meaningless job. And he was working very hard. Like he was like he had to scrub some stuff down. I was just kind of observing him for a while.
And that's the problem with our society right now.
But he was working harder, but he wasn't working smarter.
Right. So that's the problem with our society. right now is they'll look at mediocre jobs and just be like, oh, this is meaningless. I'm not going to put my heart into it. I'm just going to put time in, clock out. But the thing is, you should treat every single job like it's a commission sales job. But you got to put your heart in every hour. You know?
Well, I'll put devil's advocate here too, though. Because, like, think about it. Like, if you want to add, like, if somebody's working at, I don't know, TJ Maxx, and they're not that I'm encouraging like a bad attitude or anything, but like if they got complacent with that job, like, or showing to Wendy's at work every single day, and then they end up working there for the next 10 years or 5 years or some significant amount of time that you just shouldn't be working at Wendy's for, then that accepting of your current circumstances could actually be negative. Not that you shouldn't have a positive attitude and still work hard and put in the work, but like I guess whenever you add the element of being complacent, like I think that's actually kind of a net negative.
Yeah, I mean, also when I think about this stuff, you gotta think about your environment. I mean, we're in a college environment, a lot of progressive students, a lot of ambition, you know, somewhat high IQs. Like, we're not really used to, you know, how the other half lives. You know, the other half is never going to go to college. No one in their family has gone to college. You know, grew up in, like, small rural communities where the education system wasn't, you know, as elite, I guess you could say. And
didn't have as many advantages.
This is the only life that they know. And they're very happy with it. And, I don't know, have you seen Bruce Almighty?
Which one's that? Is that Jim Carrey, or is that... Okay.
Jim Carrey?
No, I've seen the other one. I've seen Evan Almighty.
Oh, okay. Well, Bruce Almighty, like, when he's first fighting with God, right? Before God gives him his powers, just to kind of, you know, okay, you want my job? Here
is it also
go.
Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, Morgan Freeman. So before, you know, Bruce Almighty comes God, he makes a comment, because he, like, made a joke or something, and he's like, oh, you're a funny man, just like your father. And then immediately, Bruce Almighty, he just kind of, like, slums down, and he's all upset. So obviously there's some sort of, like, missing link with him and his father and the relationship there. And then, so then God, you know, Morgan Freeman, he's like, you know, you're just like your father, just a funny man. Think about your dad, he was never scared to roll his sleeves up and get his hands dirty. And then you're saying that, you know, some of the happiest men have more simple lives.
Sure.
And it's true. You'll have the people that aren't, you know, super ambitious in the sense, you know, within their work, but they're super happy and they've got a good mood, but their ambition comes in their family. So I think measuring a success to society is how much family structure there is. And this is not only going to get into politics, believe it or not, but it's going to get into more sociology. You know, family is a huge, how can I say it, determining factor to how someone's going to be as an adult.
Absolutely.
You know, the family structure is key. And getting into politics, I'm referring to the Cold War era. I don't know if you've ever read the Communist Manifesto or, like, studied it in any way. But the Soviets, it was in their duty.
You're actually leaning out of the camera.
Oh.
Sorry to be that guy.
Yeah, but anyway, the Soviets, it was like in their duty to sabotage America from within. And the way that they believed they could do that was destroying family structure. So then that is shortly after is when...
Because it's going to destroy the family structure, which is therefore going to result in destroying the individual, which is what the West relies on for capitalism to thrive.
Exactly. So then that is when liberalism, neoliberalism, all of that started to become pretty prevalent. So I'm not bashing on liberals at all, but I think there is a correlation between a lack of family structure and liberalism.
Okay.
You know, take for example, like, we live in conservative Midwest, Bible Belt even. You know, a child we'll take like a pretty controversial topic, especially with politics, like homosexuality, for example. A kid comes home, tells his parents that he's gay, they banish him. They abandon him. Just because of what we, probably accept as a cultural norm right now.
Just a sexual preference.
Right. Just like, and then they don't see it because they're more, our older generations are more focused on like that family structure.
Versus if you had the exact same families with different ideologies that are like, yo, it's cool. Like, you're gay. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't have to just be gay. It could be something as simple as like a kid that drinks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I have that actually. Like, my father was just like super conservative and really against drinking. When I started drinking after 21, he didn't want anything to do with me.
Really?
Yeah.
It's completely like almost disowned you.
Yeah. And then like with that, and also some choices that I've made for a career, and some things to make some money on the side. Like, he would just kind of completely disown me. This is what it would feel like. But then I would I would feel it, and I would ask him, like, we all know I'm straight all the way, but Dad, like, what if I told you I was gay or something? Is that what you would do? You just like disown me? Like, I think that's a problem with right now in our family structures. Is a lot of families are breaking apart.
Mm-hmm.
Because of, there's nothing wrong with liberalism or a more, I'm not going to say like bohemic kind of society.
What do you mean by bohemic?
Like less, like what people want to think is the norm.
Okay.
But what needs to happen to help with that is like taboo. I guess taboo is a better word.
Like, not to be talked about?
Yeah.
Off topic, okay.
I guess so. But anyway, to help with that is to instill understanding and empathy within those older generations so that we can bring back that cohesion in family structure. That's going to be needed for success in the business world or any workforce in general, because that's the issue. And that's what I'm getting at, is there's a lot of division amongst millennials and the other generations.
A lot of separation because of the lack of understanding.
Right. Because
they're set in their arguably antiquated ways. Antiquated mean like old fashioned, like kind of just out of date. Some of the ways they view the world now is how they viewed the world 30 years ago, which is completely
right.
It's not prevalent to today's times.
But and this is what I look at. I look at like our older generations as just being hard and rigid because they lived through war times. Mm-hmm. And and then from that, like Great Depression and whatnot, just work is life. You wake up, you go to work, you show up on time, never have any issues. You're very, I wouldn't say complacent, you're obedient and just follow it, and you're just trapped into this society of just 9 to 5, clock in, clock out, retire, and you're old, right?
That's like my grandpa that died. Or my grandparents.
Yeah, worked for the same company for 20, 30 years.
Yeah, that too. But exactly. He the one I'm referring to, he worked on a farm, but he grew up at like 10 years old. Like 10 years old and on. Like he grew up during the Great Depression. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So like our older generations, they don't understand millennials. And the millennials, we were born into technology. Now generations like the generation right before us, they're the best for technology because they were like us. They were like in their 20s and they had their, they were in their prime when technology came out. Computers and everything. We were born into it. So we grew up with it. So now there's a technological divide within the workforce.
Right.
So the older generations, they need us. They need us to run digital marketing campaigns for them. They need us to do software engineering. They need us for more in technological fields. Right? But we, for the most part, we're good with people, because I feel like the millennials went through phase, because I think character is built through not necessarily trauma, but just hard experiences, hardships.
Through struggle,
right? And I think millennials have struggled in the sense from that division, from their families, from the past, because of the more, like, I don't know, like, for example, rap music, or like growing up around drugs, or pornography, getting into that when you're like 9 or 10 years old. That was unheard of our parents and their generations ahead. So people that were in those, they're scared like bohemic. That's what I mean.
Because that's a
like
big...
a sexualized culture, and just like these cultural things that are normal to us, but just like I guess unconventional might be a word.
Do you think so? You're saying like a lot of our struggle and almost
is
like
that division because of our culture, and not a cultural in our generations ahead that we're divided from, not understanding or being empathetic of it. They're not accepting it.
Wait, what do you mean by division? So division being separation from them?
So like,
and they're not understanding
millennials not having a good relationship with their parents because of cultural norms that they've, adopted that are just unacceptable to.
Don't you think every past generation kind of had that to some extent?
Exactly. But right now, we're talking about the productivity and success of our society. Or the past generations before the ones for us, there's no point. They're about to die. Like our workforce right now is like our grandparents, parents, and us. Then the generation that's coming next, that's a whole other topic. Because this is where I look at the generations ahead of us are a lot better with people and more old-fashioned. You can do, you make pretty good money doing door-to-door sales, for example, or something. They work hard, right? And they're good leaders. They're our managers. They're our executives, right? Then the millennials, we're like a divide. We're good with people in a sense because of the hardships that we went through, and because we needed to look to each other to build our unity because we were divided from our families or from whatever structure we have.
Don't you think this is a big criticism from the older generations to upon us? Is that that we don't have very much struggle,
right?
Because I know a lot of older generations think we have it easy,
right? But millennials don't think that. So I think another of your questions about our society being so emotional. I think for some reason, millennials we feel more. I don't want to say entitled, but we have a lot more passionate about ourselves, individualism, and when someone doesn't see things our way, we get upset. So I think it is a sense of entitlement in a way.
Yeah.
Because we didn't live the way that the people older generations did. But go back to what I was saying, it's like older generations go with people. They're our leaders, they're execs, whatever. Millennials go with people, go with technology. Now I'm afraid the generation after us isn't going to be good with people because they're literally technology from the day they're toddlers.
Or do you think they're going to be good with people but in their own way, and they're going to completely redefine the social norms?
Yeah.
That's what's kind of scary.
But I think it's going to be more technological. I think there's going to be a huge technological divide.
Ooh.
Especially,
if even our generation a little bit, growing up around, I don't know, some people's main source of communication was, playing Xbox and playing on Modern Warfare 2, talking with their friends, or communicating in very different ways.
Yeah. And so...
communicating while we have a lot of stimuli, so we're, partially engaged with the conversation, which... that's why a lot of people tell me, with this podcast, it's really interesting that they're my main sense of focus right now is 100% this conversation versus think about how much you're sitting down talking and we're texting or sitting down talking with your friends and watching TV or play video games or in class or studying, whatever it may be. It's almost like you never are fully invested in just the conversation.
Right, exactly. And so when it comes to measuring,
it's getting more prevalent.
To the original question about measuring the productivity and the success of society. So what did I say before? The sense of people understanding people, the collaboration, the teamwork involved, just being understanding, empathetic, being genuine, but then the work ethic, but then also the technological divide. So I think that could lead to another question, the limits of technology. I think when it gets to the point where technology completely takes away the human element is when things go too far.
Human element referring to like human interaction and us just being friendly and amiable with each other.
Yeah, I mean, people might wonder, are you talking about artificial intelligence, like robotics and stuff? I'm like, no, I think that's wonderful. But don't take away human interaction with other humans.
Yeah, and that's so important. That's so important for general well-being, for cohesiveness, is like what you were arguing earlier. Like, yeah, that's scary. Technology is a threat to that. And what are the societal costs of taking away like human interaction? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's probably another criticism that past older generations have on us as well.
Oh, absolutely. And they always use and that's the thing too, is where things are right now with technology, anyone can learn. And that's like the thing that I hate most is like our older generation, like they'll use that as an excuse, like, oh, I'm old, I don't want to mess with this technology and stuff. It's like when I used to sell smart home security systems, and it's like, and these old people, and I'm like, because usually old people are home.
Yeah, sure.
So the door-to-door sales, like a lot of prospects are old, but and like, oh, I don't even know how to use this smartphone. Like, I don't even want to deal with smart home security. And it's like, look, lady, do you not see that you're a threat for a criminal? Like, you are a target. You're a target for a criminal. Like any criminal, like, for example, Springfield, number 2 for petty crime and burglaries.
Oh, wow.
And
number 2 in the nation?
Yeah, and burglaries will happen within the first 90 days of home ownership. So Google would send us out to go sell a smart home security system to prevent within that time period, because within that time period is also when burglaries happen.
Did you use a lot of fear tactics, just out of curiosity?
I didn't work there long enough to do it. I found out my boss was having us sell without a license, soliciting without a license. I don't want that to infringe on my future goals.
Yeah, right.
So I just quit. But he was a young kid too. He was like 20 years old. And that's the thing too. You got kids dropping out of high school, starting their own companies and whatnot, being very successful. A 20-year-old kid driving around an $80,000 Mercedes.
Because we have that opportunity of the internet.
Right. But anyway,
technology.
To go back with technology, like old people, is like anyone can learn. Like, it's not that hard to teach you how to download an app and then to press a button to lock your doors, like right from your phone.
Do you think that's just part of? I don't even know if that's a generational thing. At least I don't think I would argue that it is.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a part of just the human conditioning of being.
Yeah. Well, I was just using
your own habits and patterns.
I was just using it as an example. As like our older generations using that as an excuse, like, oh, I'm old, I don't want to mess with this technology.
Yeah.
Whenever that technology
I know exactly what you're talking about.
can really help out their life, especially an older person. Like, let's say they have a stroke or, like a fall down stairs and their hips are weaker and whatnot. Like, they can't get up. Just get on their phone and click the life alert or the meta pin, whatever, and then automatically notifies ambulance right up to the house. When an ambulance person shows up, click the button on your phone, unlock the door, they're in, take care of business. When you're in the ambulance, press a button, lock the house down. And me trying to explain that to an old person, they're just like...
Really? They have no interest in that, in saving their own lives?
Exactly.
That's surprising to me.
But it's because they're so consumed around this idea that they can't be technologically advanced.
Or do you think they think that learning this will complicate their lives? When in result, it could save their lives? Like,
I don't know. I'm not an old person. But I'm just saying that's an example of, like, old people using their age as an excuse not to learn the technological skills that younger generations
because that's kind of, like, a big difference if you... It's kind of a new thought. But if you think about, like, our generation versus the older generation, like, whenever we learn something on the computer, it's like, oh, this could simplify my life. This could add, like, some practicality in my life. But, like... They're like, oh, they just automatically, like, repudiate the thought because it's like, oh, it's going to make my life so much more difficult learning this. I'm good, I'm fine.
Exactly. And that would be anything within, a lot of the cohesion Because I see like a lot of divide just being in a corporate world, like being a younger person and the older people that have been there for years, and it's like, I'm sorry that now I'm your boss, but you have all the time in the world to learn these technological capabilities that I have. You know? Now, I'm not saying that's what I do in my life. I'm using it as an example.
Right,
hypothetical.
That would be weird from their perspective, like to grow up like without this technology, then starts getting introduced, and you like kind of see yourself becoming obsolete.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Yeah. Yeah. So it does make us be a little more empathetic for them as well. But if you want to make money, because we deal with so many older people because of the baby boomers. So if you really wanted to make money, go into like nursing home business.
Oh yeah.
And,
big generation.
Yep, and hearing aids.
And wiping asses.
Yeah. Exactly.
Apparently this is kind of off topic, but apparently there's some type of technology that it's like a translator. It's almost like a hearing aid, except so like say you're speaking French to me right now, then it's going to translate that into my ear into English. I don't know if this already exists or if it's like being created.
Yeah.
I saw it. I want to say I saw this on like Twitter or something like a year or two ago, but I just found it super fascinating.
Yeah. Military government has those capabilities, and it's useful within the intelligence analysis realm where you're on a desk and technology is high speed and it's up to par. But out in the field, there's still a need for that human element.
Okay.
Because technology always, and I guess that we were talking about like the limits of technology. The range for like the range could be increased. Like we could have, like I say, like public Wi-Fi towers or something. So when you're out in the field or in the woods or like out of civilization, then you still have internet to work. You know. I don't know.
What you're saying? The hearing aids they require.
Oh no, I'm talking about like just because a lot of technology right now is ran off internet access and Wi-Fi.
What about data? Is there any way to like?
Yeah.
Freely access that?
I don't know, but that could be another topic for the limits of technology as well. But I mean, I think we've hit on like 2 or 3 topics now. I'm getting tired.
Actually, something I want to ask you about is
Sure.
the energy drills with martial arts that you were kind of talking about.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Like what's that?
A whole different subject.
Yeah, a completely different topic, but it's.
Yeah.
I just found that whenever you were explaining that, I just thought that was really interesting.
Well, you'd always watch videos of it on YouTube or in movies or something. You think, oh, that's bullshit. Then you actually try it. It's like, oh wow.
Well, it's pretty much just the same motions repetitively, like
it's creating
striking block.
It's creating muscle memory.
And you just go throughout the pattern, and you start getting quicker and quicker with it.
Yeah, in a sense. I mean, energy drills in martial arts, it teaches you to read your opponent and to be able to feel their movements, understand the physiology of things. Like, oh, when I push his arm that way, it makes this go do that. You know, or I push on this joint on the hip and it makes the body move like that. And I would learn that through Russian martial arts.
Okay.
Like, my instructor, he would just like push on different points of my body. And like, you see, when I push you there, like it moves that. So then I can use that as a lever or something against you,
Okay.
That's just like an example. Then energy drills within the Chinese martial arts that I would do, I always thought they were bullshit until I'd actually try it and do it over and over and over. Like you said, repetition is just muscle memory. But then...
Is it like a very flow state to where you start doing it without thinking?
Yeah.
And it's just very
autonomous.
autonomous.
Like second nature. So when you see those guys that are like blind doing this stuff, then you understand why. Because they literally can feel, the physiology and just like literally the body. When I'm talking about energy, I'm talking about the kinesthetic energy generating through the body. So kinesiology and physiology is having an understanding of that can really help out with your martial arts.
Okay.
But I don't know. I've had this theory, and people could definitely argue. But I wonder if people that come from a background of, before they became a trained martial artist, like getting beat up, whether it be bullies in school, by your dad at home, by your mom, whatever, just having the experience of having someone physically hurt you, and then like feeling a deep desire to actually learn how to protect yourself. Now I have this theory that people with those backgrounds can be a lot better at fighting and self-defense because it's either in their muscle memory, or, it is in their muscle memory, but also because they might have, possibly like a mild form of PTSD or something. So the unique thing about PTSD or trauma is you can get through psychotherapy and get out of your mind, but it never leaves your body.
Oh, so
it's like in your body to act out. It's in your to act out within your muscle memory.
I forgot where I read this, but apparently your body is somehow able to memorize things as well.
Exactly, it's stuck in your cells.
Wow.
And so with the energy drills, I think they come to be very effective for people with a background or just history of psychological trauma. And it becomes very therapeutic for them.
Really?
It teaches them to have control of their body. So I think that when it comes down to the purpose of energy drills in the martial arts is to teach control. Because control is a huge
control, implying like accuracy, precision.
That too, but just of your body, of your emotion when you get hit. Or when you're in fear. Being able to stay calm, cool, and collected.
So it's like teaching mindfulness through the practice of repetition.
That is the word I was looking for, mindfulness. Exactly.
Wow.
So the ancient martial artists that probably started energy drills, you have to think about, like, our country, our generation is very lucky. We didn't grow up in war. Think about ancient history. Like us, we would have probably already have killed people by now.
Or even the 20th century.
Yeah, just being warriors, protecting our villages, protecting our women. Like, you've been in combat. And, through science and in the medical field and medicine, mental health, probably didn't start to be a thing that was treated until maybe the 20th century.
Wow.
So I think that there's somewhat of like a blessing and a curse behind trauma through combat. And I think that is why energy drills were invented, was to help warriors deal with their issues.
Wow, okay.
I guess.
It's like theoretical, yeah, just to get... That's so interesting, though.
Yeah.
Well, like, you're also taking this from, like, the benefits that you've experienced from it.
Exactly. But yeah, it teaches mindfulness, but also I think it does give a sense of mental clarity. It gives you focus.
It's like a meditation. It's a meditation.
Exactly. It's like a physical meditation.
Wow.
In a way.
But I've heard people compare, like, running to meditation as well, so I guess there are different types of meditation, just being able to put all your focus into something.
Mm-hmm.
You have to focus on that moment, the repetition of the skills.
Yeah, absolutely. And what else about energy drills? So it teaches you to be mindful of the physiology and kinesiology of your opponent, be able to read them, their actions, reactions, and just be able to, know how to react yourself. And then it's therapeutic, meditation and relaxation for, sorry, you have to go through trauma, but even just your beginning training in martial arts, you're going to get beat up. You can't be good at fighting or winning fights until you've been beat up yourself.
Right.
So your body is going to capture that. It's going to remember that feeling.
Humility.
I remember what it was like to get my bell rung. Well, next time I'm going to do a little footwork and slip, or I'm going to do something outside the fence, so I don't feel that. But then, repetition to the point where it's like second nature, and you can improvise in your fighting styles. Then that's when I think you get it.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting that energy drills exist. It's also the cool element of martial arts kind of going off of that is just being able to be so calm and cool and collected. Like,
yeah, that's honestly, I think that's really the true objective of energy drills, is just teaching you control.
Really?
Yeah.
So they'd be beneficial for like an MMA fighter, or...
Yeah, I would say so. I've never really done MMA, so I can't really... I mean, I've done like a little bit of training in it, but I've never actually like been a fighter, like been, beat on repeatedly. I think a lot of boxing drills and the sparring is energy drill in its way.
Okay.
But you're referring to like the Asian martial, like Filipino martial arts, Wing Chun, and even the Russian martial arts. And the energy drills is probably for what I was talking about. But as for MMA, yeah, I think I think muscle memory is a key to that as well, and that's what sparring is for.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, because it was a completely new concept to me before meeting you. To be honest,
Sure.
Yeah, I never heard of it really much.
Yeah, I'm surprised people like them, because I hated it at first. I was like, it's fucking boring.
Really?
Yeah.
I think your explanation of it with your understanding of it is what kind of led me to have an interest in it. And just I don't know, I guess I enjoy the repetition in its own sense as well.
Well, I don't remember the exact word or terminology for it. I think it was like Qinhua or just something with qi. It's like the Chinese one where you're like going back and forth, like with the hands. Like yours are on the outside, mine are on the inside. Or
is it the one we did for a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like in the Fuchs style position.
Right.
But that one, I remember my martial arts instructor, and his name is Sifu Brian Stevenson, by the way, in Independence, Missouri, Dragon Family Martial Arts. But when we would do like energy drill seminars or something, we would be outside, and it'd be nighttime, so it'd be dark, so you can't really see well. And then we'd have fire burning incense and stuff, and you can just smell like the aura, the aroma, my bad. The aroma would just be calming and soothing, and it definitely was just like meditation, like getting our body with having that muscle memory.
Interesting.
So, whenever I'm in a combative position where I'm kind of like tied up, like wrestling or whatever, or grappling with someone's arms, then my body can remember that moment of just pure serenity and calmness. So I think those energy drills kind of helps with your future combative situations as well.
You could apply that to like so many aspects of life too.
Right, it's like your happy place.
It's
like for me, when I was in one of my drills in the Army, we had a weapon qualification, and I was struggling. But we had bad conditions. We had like no time to zero our weapons. The weather was bad. We didn't even have any sandbags to like prop up, because in the Army for weapon qual, you lay down in a prone position with supported, so you're on sandbags, and for 20 rounds, 20 targets, I guess I could say, you get 40 rounds in your weapon. And then the next round is 10 prone unsupported, so that means that you don't have these sandbags.
Okay.
And then 10 kneeling. And the whole 20, like that first 20, usually should just hit all of them. Because, you have a sandbag, you got support, like it's just perfect shot every time.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even have that. So we just had really poor conditions, and I'm just stressing out. Like, I'm just like, I need these perfect conditions. This is my weapon qual test. Like I need to do what I did when I was at basic. Like, it's just in my head, and I'm getting stressed out when I'm failing. I'm failing to even qualify. Like, qualify, you get to hit over 23 targets out of 40. So it's super easy to do. And I'm, like, failing once, and I'm like, oh, like, this is not me. I was a good shot. Shot 37 out of 40. For original qual. But,
and you're not even passing 23 at this point.
Exactly. And so then my battle buddy, he's like, just think of something, like, peaceful while you're out there.
And you thought of energy drills? Or
I thought of dancing with a girl a week before.
Okay.
But now, I would think about energy drills because that girl caused me stress. But energy comes from dancing as well. Music. Is the feeling and, like, movement. I think just kinesiology and
taking you to that same flow
is just
same rhythm.
Exactly. And martial arts is a lot like dancing too. And I think that's why a lot of those cultures and those fighting cultures in ancient, in Africa, Asia, and whatnot, that in South America, like capoeira in Brazil, they do that dancing and stuff for the same reason. It's an energy drill. So I think it's just energy drill is just creating energy in a controlled and repetitious,
soothing
manner. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It really is meditation while moving. Your mind is.
I like that. I like looking at that.
Going into that, and it's losing its focus on other things.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's why anything I really, really enjoy in life is something that makes you just completely focused in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like soccer. I played in a soccer game last night. I was fully engaged in it, and there's no better feeling.
Right, but that works for us because we are the physical type. You see, not everyone in this world is kinesthetic.
Right.
I mean, several people that aren't athletic.
So it's like, what's their bliss? What's their way to meditate or whatever?
Exactly.
It's their escape.
It might be playing video games.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It might be coding. It might be acting.
It might be reading.
Drama, it might be reading. Exactly. But for us, and that's why I was enjoying training you, because I've trained people that just want to get in shape, but I can tell they don't have an athletic background.
Mm-hmm.
When you were a soccer player, you had an MMA background, perfect. You're going to pick this stuff like that.
Right.
And like my martial arts instructor, like he would tell other students, referring to me, like point to me, like, yeah, he picked this stuff up quicker than anyone I've known. So don't feel bad. But it's obvious, like I have an athletic background, they don't.
It's high praise.
Right. So I think the energy drills are just going to be effective for an athlete in general.
Okay.
Just someone who not necessarily understands the value, but like feels the value of just kinesthetic movement and just physical activity and exercise. The movement science behind it.
Interesting. Whether they understand that like conceptually or they just understand it based on like experience, yeah.
Right.
Do you have any other topics on your mind? To be honest, I'm like getting really tired.
Dude, I'm getting super tired.
I feel like a douche because like you're moving in. Well, Mason's moving to Arizona and like, I mean, you're pretty much moving like in a few days.
Yeah.
Within 24 hours, like you'll pretty much be out of Springfield.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're only visiting, but it's kind of like once you're there, it's like you're starting your new life, and then you come back here, and it's like you're visiting here.
Yeah. Do you like edit out and cut out things?
Nah, I usually just flow all the way through. Are you waiting to say something, or you just want to say it off camera?
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say like, it wouldn't be as effective if it caught me telling you to ask me. But like to bring in and like close on a funny thing, you'd be like, oh yeah, so talk about that dancing.
Oh,
what do you mean? You mean that I heard from so and so. There's a little bit of a funny story.
Oh no, I was thinking about starting it off on that. I didn't know if you cared or not. Yeah, No, I thought that was fucking hilarious. That was awesome.
Well, because I don't know if she's about to leave, but you could like have her come down and be like, yeah, so she just happens to be that girl.
Well, okay, so
you'd have to like edit out the last minute or two.
Oh, do you not want to talk about it on camera?
Oh no, we can. I'm just saying it's weird to like have me give you that suggestion.
Oh, no, it's cool.
Oh, okay.
No, I actually wanted to bring it up. I just didn't, out of consideration for you, I didn't know if you wanted, like, to talk about that. I didn't know if, like... okay, so you think it's funny? Oh, absolutely. No, you're totally cool, man. No, it's... no, I want to talk about that, too. Okay, so basically, long story short, before the podcast, we're sitting around talking. Mason's sharing a story with my roommate, whose name's Trud, and... Mason and Trud are talking, and they're like, yeah, I was dancing on this girl, and you pretty much started like, what did you do exactly?
Oh, I talked about my previous experience being asked to give a private dance to a birthday girl at a club. So every time I go to this club, I end up just becoming Magic Mike. There's enough alcohol in me, or when certain songs play, like Pony. And yeah, there's a video the last time I was there, and you know, I'm getting into it. I mean,
just grinding,
like doing the whole, like, you know, what do you call it, boogaloo, whatever little move where you're like moving your hips and your knees and whatnot, stuff that Magic Mike does, and like all the loose flowy shit, picking up the girl, swinging her around, like knee sliding into her crotch, and like, yeah,
some pretty intense grinding, honestly.
Yeah.
Like you guys went on the ground for a little bit.
Yeah, and then
this is some random girl.
Yep, just some random girl, and that girl just happened to be there with Trud upstairs while I'm explaining the story, and then she looks up, she recognizes my face, and she was like, that was me.
She's like, I have to say something.
And then I was like, oh shoot.
She went from dead silent to just listening to you talk about this to like yelling. She's like, that I have to say it was me.
And it was funny because right before that, I was talking to him like, yeah, you know, one time I went to this club. I was just doing my own thing, my own business, and this girl walks up and said, I mean, I'd say she's more of a woman. She's like in her 30s. I'm 22. And she's like, you know, you're a little bit more better looking than most of the guys out here dancing with my friend. It's her birthday. You also look like you know what you're doing. Do you know how to dance to these songs? And, like, country songs are playing. I'm like, nah, I don't know how to dance to this shit at all. But when a hip-hop song comes on, I got you, girl, no worries. So, believe it or not, they played frickin' My Pony, and I did the same thing. But that girl, she just, like, fell in love with it. And then she, like, wanted me to just, you know, give her a good time on every single hip-hop song that came on. And then her friend that was older and, you know, had the money, she, like, slipped me some cash, and she was like, you know, if you want to make a little bit more, you can give a private dance to her and all that. So I went to her home and did a little private dance and made some money that night. But it was just purely for fun, you know.
Male stripper.
Yeah, literally, it's just like the movie Magic Mike, you know, like they're not like sitting there having sex with the women. It's not like prostitution or anything, like not doing anything super nasty. It's literally just the fun of movement with an attractive human being, I guess. I don't know.
That's so funny that happened. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm not trying to say attractive human being to be like arrogant or like douchebaggery or anyway. I'm just saying like strippers that do it professionally, you're not going to find one that's not attractive.
Well, they were willing to pay you to strip for them. Mm-hmm. So at least they found you attractive.
Right. When they even said like earlier in the night, like, oh, you look a little bit better looking than most of the guys around here. And then, so I was just like, all right, I got you.
Wait, did they got you? So they suggested that? Like, hey, will you come back to our apartment or place, wherever, and strip for us?
They said just give us like a little bit more, show us a little bit more, a little private dance.
That's hilarious.
I thought they were kidding, but then she slipped me cash, and I was like, "Oh, you're being serious?" And she's like,
"Yeah, I wouldn't think that's real either." I'd be like, "Oh,
they really enjoy it." But yeah,
that's hilarious. That's awesome.
Yeah, I wish I still had pictures from that.
You made money from your body. Not many guys can say that.
Yeah, but
They sound pretty lit right now.
I think the energy drills and the martial arts and stuff probably helps with that.
That's it.
I mean, my flexibility on the dance floors comes from martial arts. That's all I gotta say.
There you go. Yeah, I admire that because I personally don't dance very much.
Yeah.
Out at the club, so.
I'm not really the best dancer. I just don't have any fear. I think that's what martial arts would help with too. It's just making you extremely confident with your body. Just having like literally no fear.
I definitely experienced a little bit more of that, like more confidence with assuming the worst. That's like, especially as a guy, it's like, oh, this could get violent. Not that I ever would want it to. I've never wanted to, but like it could get violent, and if it did, like I feel better prepared. Yeah, because I've worked that side, especially against somebody that's never trained before. Like I feel pretty damn confident, if I'm being honest.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you get that from like one lesson.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not even good at martial arts, but like
because most people in the world,
if you haven't trained, you're fucked.
Yeah, most people in the world they're not trained, so they attack. I mean, there's one thing you can be good at martial arts and you get at fighting. You can just be like an excellent brawler. You're tough. You don't have a glass jaw. So keeping up with martial arts can make you tougher if you aren't already. Right. Yeah, because people are just naturally tough. A lot of people aren't. Sure. So like me, I wasn't naturally tough. I was kind of a pussy. Like I rolled jiu-jitsu with this dude. Never rolled before in his entire life, and at this point, I was like a month and a half in, and he was just a big football player, like lineman's fresh out of college. Yeah. College football player too, and I struggled with him. I think he submitted me a few times. I think I actually submitted him once or twice, but like that's a great example. Like he had the brawn, the strength, all of that versus like I had a little bit more technique at the time. Right, and you probably would submit me because I'm not like the best on the ground. A lot of my stuff is striking. Right. I'd say my striking ability is pretty hands-on, precise, but yeah, like martial arts, it just. I personally, I would just do it for the physical benefit and the mental health benefit. I didn't really care about hurting anyone. It wasn't like that. It wasn't crazy. And self-defense was important to me. I mean, I had been hurt in the past, but it didn't make me like want to go out and be vindictive or offensive anyway. Like not be like a vigilante in a way. Like it just came to the point like, okay, I'll do a couple lessons for free, learn how to protect myself. And then I was like, oh, I fell in love with the feeling. I fell in love with the motion. So, expert martial artists probably the same way. They love to have that movement. They like the movement behind it. And I think, I don't know, it's like a deep understanding of kinesiology and physiology. Just, you'll enjoy it more.
Well, on that note, you want to wrap this up?
Yeah.
I will say too, you'll probably be in Arizona, like whenever you're listening to this, assuming you're listening to this, like whenever I send it to you. Okay, cool. Yeah, I wish you the best, man. I wish you the best. It's a lot's gonna change for you between now and by the time you listen to this. Yeah. And I'm excited for you. Yeah,
I'm excited too.
I've heard nothing but good things about Arizona.
Oh, absolutely. I think the only thing that would keep me stuck here is if my car broke down and I couldn't drive it out there, but I'm staying optimistic.
That'd suck.
Yeah, it would.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'd like to save up for a bus, still go out and work out there and just ride the bus until I buy a car, like. You
probably get a bus pass pretty cheap too.
Yeah.
Probably at least $150.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Roughly, I'm guessing, but.
And then, but yeah, like.
You don't want to do that though. Greyhounds suck.
Yeah, no. I've ridden them before when I didn't used to have a car and I'd go visit family in Kansas City. I'd take Greyhounds.
Really?
But yeah, that's what martial arts kind of help But two, it just gives you like that confidence and like just no fear to just get up and move to a city and just start fresh. Like I don't know if it comes from martial arts or if it's just my personality, but I remember
A little bit of both.
Not really being this way until after martial arts training.
Maybe martial arts influence on your personality.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get that.
But I think you hit it with the mindfulness. Absolutely. Not only being mindful of kinesiology and physiology, but just mindful of your own emotions and your own tension.
Mindful of what's going on internally.
Yeah.
And externally.
Exactly. That's why I call it internal martial arts.
Yeah, really? They call it that?
Yeah. Like Tai Chi, some of the Russian martial arts that I teach you, that's internal. What else is internal? I don't really know, but more external ones are like your karate or your boxing.
Really?
Yeah. Ones where you're like doing a lot more outward force, whereas internal, like you're taking it in and using it against them.
Oh, so the concept of using their own energy against them.
Exactly.
That's okay.
And that's I guess I forgot to touch on that. That's
channeling energy.
That's another objective of energy drills too, is being able to feel and
Use their
channel
force against them.
your opponent's energy.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because with those energy drills, like you start out pretty simple,
Uh-huh.
but then you get into, moving forward into like a counterattack, or like using their energy against them, for example. Or like when we do it with the knives in the Filipino martial arts, and we're doing the hugog, we're doing that energy drill, like back and forth, and then later on, then you go for, some sort of attack, like an offensive attack, whatever. Whether or not it's, pushing up their elbow and going straight to the kidney, or, pushing it down, going straight to the neck, whatever. Like that's when I was getting that into improvisation.
Okay.
So the energy drills help with improvising.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I gotta be at work at like 7.
Oh, wow.
I was
okay.
like, my bassman was gonna be loud regardless.
Uh-huh.
The girl freaking above me is always clinking in high heels every time she comes home after like midnight. Maybe she's a stripper. I don't know. And then I told Mike, I was like, I want to come and sleep at your guys' place, but now they're allowed. And it's like, fuck. So now I'm probably going to go drive to the office in Ozark and sleep in the office.
You can stay here if you want.
No, I probably won't. It's too loud.
Okay.
I need to be like sleeping now.
It's really not super loud upstairs. It's up to you. I actually have like a pull-out bed underneath my bed too. It's like a twin mattress.
Really?
Yeah, it's totally an option if you want to stay. You're more than welcome to.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do want to go to sleep like really soon because I do a lot of physical work.
Yeah, it's up to you.
My job is physically
whatever you
demanding.
think, whatever you're gonna optimize your sleep, you're more than welcome to do whatever. But I just want to present that as an option for you. Because to be honest, I'm going to bed probably right after this. I'm pretty tired.
Yeah, I need to do that. I'm exhausted.
Cool.
I'll probably talk to Mike for a little bit more and just.
An hour and 3 minutes. Cool.
Oh wow.
Call us quits.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get me talking, I can talk a long time, but.
Awesome.
I love intellectual conversations. I always want to do a podcast myself.
Like start your own?
Possibly, I don't know. I remember, I've done these before with my friend Slavic. He'd always just touch on government conspiracy stuff, and I was like, that stuff annoys me.
Wait, he actually
politics.
He has a podcast himself?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had me do one, like, some conspiracy with, like, CIA, NSA stuff. I was just like, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah, I don't really find conspiracy. I do to an extent, but I don't find them really like out there. Like,
yeah,
very. Some of them are just really bizarre. Like lizard people are running our society. Illuminati.
No, he does. He believes in the Illuminati. He like sent me a big chart the other night. And
I'm not saying it's false. I don't know. I think there is some new world order that's higher than the government.
Yeah, he's saying like there's 8 different banks and families that run our country or run our world.
I know the Federal Reserve's kind of fucked up. I don't know
Yeah.
much about it, but
Yeah, he talks about that a lot. I don't know, he told me about like some government brainwashing programs. Like,
I wouldn't doubt that, to be honest.
Yeah, that
They have incentives to do so.
I could see it, but the way that he described it was so bizarre. He's like, you know, it's like the psychological operations behind it. You know, they kind of put you in a trance, and then based on like a sense of code or terminology or numbers or whatever listed off, then it activates you to do something. Like literally like Winter Soldier and Captain America.
I've never seen that.
Oh, that's what he was talking about. He said, yeah, it's like Winter Soldier. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Wait, it activates you to do something? What do you mean by that?
So like in the Winter Soldier, for example, he's like a brainwashed assassin, right? By the Soviets. Like he used to be an American soldier with Captain America.
Okay.
But then he like went missing in half whenever got captured by Soviets or something. So then they engineered him into this like assassin that would be activated in the sense of like acting out.
They could turn him on at any point,
right?
Like whether it be like a smell or like a snap of the fingers or
it would be a
flick of a lighter.
It would be words that they would say.
Oh
like
my
a sense
goodness!
of codes. And so
they yell out like,
yeah.
Rubber duck army red balloon flag.
Exactly. And that's what my friend was saying was real. I'm like, no, that's just freaking comic books and that's in the movies. It's not real at all. And he's like, no, it is. Like, there's like real life Jason Bourne brainwashing stuff going on in the CIA. And I'm like, no.
I love that there are thinkers like that exist, like people that are questioning everything.
Yes.
But whenever they take everything as like fact, it's like, this is how it is, bro. And they're like very in your face about it. It's just like,
exactly.
It turns me off and it turns everybody else off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, I don't get it at all.
But, alright, cool. We're going to bed. Cool. Deuces, happy birthday to me, so. Bye.